Hey guys! Today I'm going to teach you how to use the new DTI vinyl cutter, the Silhouette Cameo 4 Pro. For the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to show you what I'm currently working on, which is a visual guide for what goes in the Sharps container. First, I measured the surface area to get a sense for how much vinyl I'm going to need to use for this project. The area I'm working with is about 3 by 4.5 inches, so I'm going to try and find a piece of scrap vinyl that fits those dimensions. The vinyl cutter scraps can be found underneath the vinyl cutter in one of these drawers. I'm looking for some white vinyl, so I'm going to try and find a piece that has enough room. So the piece that I found measures about 5 by 7 inches, and the vinyl cutter, if you want to use it without a mat and just load the vinyl freehand, needs to be at least 8 inches, 12 inches, 13, 15, 20, or 24 inches wide. So in this case, we're going to need to use the vinyl cutter mat, which measures 12 by 12 inches, fits into the vinyl cutter perfectly, and it has a sticky surface so that you can put any size scrap on top. In this tutorial, I'll also show you how to load the vinyl without a cutting mat, but for now we're just going to use the mat. So first things first, we're going to turn on the vinyl cutter. It's this little power button off to the side. And then we're going to come over to the computer and open up the Silhouette Studio software, which looks like this and can be found in the bottom panel. Once you open it, it's going to look like this, and you want to make sure that you're in the Design tab. And then we're going to come over to the right-hand side where we have our page set up. Since we're using a cutting mat, we're going to indicate that it's the 12 by 12, and we're going to indicate the width and height of our material, which is 5 by 7 inches, and make sure that it is the proper orientation that it is on your cutting mat. Mine is portrait, and so these match. If you recall, the width I'm working with is 3 by 4.5 inches, so I'm just going to draw a square with those dimensions onto our software so that we make sure we're not cutting on space we don't have. To do that, we're going to come over to the left-hand side and click on this little rectangle, and then we're going to draw a rectangle that fits those dimensions, and we can come up here and adjust the size accordingly. Make sure you unclick this lock so that it's not constrained to be uniform. We can make it 3 inches wide and 4.5 inches tall. So there we have our box. We're going to go and click back to the arrow key so that we don't keep drawing more rectangles. And we're going to move this around so that it optimizes the amount of space we have. So right there in the corner is perfect. In this design, I'm going to be using text and images, so I'm going to show you how to do both of those. First, I want a line of text that reads, "What goes in the Sharps container?" So we're going to click on this A, which opens up the text panel, and we're just going to type what we want to type. It's going to be really huge at first, but don't worry, you can adjust the size once you've typed out your text. You can also adjust the font of your text by clicking on the text box and coming over back to the right-hand side where we click on this A, and that'll open up the text style panels, and you can choose any font you would like. I'm going to stick with this font because it's sans serif, which helps with dyslexia. So I'm going to add all of the text that I want to, and then I'll show you how to trace an image. Okay, so I've got my text here, and now I'm going to find an image for each one. The Noun Project is a great place to get free icons and vectors, so I'm going to search up pins and see what I can find. You can also search in Google Images, and once you find an icon you like, simply copy the image, go back into Silhouette Studio, right-click and paste, and there's your image. Before we can send this to the vinyl cutter, we need to trace the image, so we're going to go back over to the right-hand panel and click on this little butterfly thing, and click Select Trace Area. Then we're going to draw a rectangle around our image, and it will turn yellow. That means that it has been traced, and you're just going to click Trace. Once you've done that, you can drag the original image off, and you have a format that is suitable for the vinyl cutter. You can scale that however big or small you'd like, and then just delete the original image. So I'm going to go ahead and find images for all of my text, and then we can continue. Okay, so I've got all of my images and my text prepared, so I'm going to go over to Send, and you'll notice I still need to load my media, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Since the cutting mat is 12 inches wide, I'm going to move this so that it's in between these two arrows, and we're going to load it by aligning the left side with this outer line of these two arrows. Once I have the cutting mat aligned, I'm going to come over here and press the up arrow. And then I'm going to double check that my mat is level and is all on the same line. If it's not, you can simply flip this down and adjust it so that it's all level. And then just pop this back up. Finally, we're going to come over here and select our material. We're using DTI vinyl, which we have calibrated the settings specifically for. We're using an auto blade, so it will detect how much force it needs to put in, so you don't need to mess with any of those settings. Once you have everything set, you're just going to click send, and the cutting process will begin. Once the cut has finished, you're just going to come over here and click the down arrow, and it will spit it out. Next, you're going to carefully peel the vinyl off of the sticky mat, and you're going to put the blue protective cover back on top so that it doesn't get dirty and lose its tackiness. Once you've done that, you can put it back in the first drawer under the vinyl cutter. Alright, so now we're going to peel off the backing part of the vinyl, which will reveal our text. Okay, so this is what it looks like after I peeled off the backing. As you can see, some of the pieces shifted a little. That's okay, that sometimes happens with the cutting mat, but it's still gonna look all right. So now we're gonna weed out the pieces that are the small little bubble letters, and then we'll go ahead and put it on our sharps container. Okay, so now we're going to take a piece of transferred paper, which you can see over here, and we're gonna put it on top of this sticker and peel it off. So then we're going to put this transfer paper on the spot where we want it, like so. And we're going to take one of these scraper tools and scrape it on. Make sure that you get as much of it as you can so that it doesn't peel off when you peel the transfer paper off. So that should be good. And we're going to very carefully peel it off. You might need to like stick it back on and peel again if some of the letters are coming off. And there you go. All right, and even though it's a little wonky, it's perfect to me, and that's how you use the vinyl cutter with a mat. So super quickly, I'm going to show you how to load it without a mat, and then the tutorial will be done. All right, so if you want to load a piece of material without the cutting mat, you just need to make sure that it's at least 8, 12, 13, 15, 20, or 24 inches wide. So this one is 10 inches wide, which means I'm going to put it on the 8-inch setting. This time I'm going to align the left corner of the material with the inner line with these arrows. And then in the page setup under cutting mat, we'll just click none. And that's it.